Okay, so logic is very key here. In John 10, Jesus says that the works he does testifies that he is God's son in the Bible. And he says, if you do not believe me, believe the works so you know that I am the Father and the Father is in me. Okay, the Jews are mad because in saying that he was God's son, the Bible says that he makes himself equal to God. What they're getting at is in the community, in his standing in the community, that he was God's representative, God speaking through him, so they must obey him. And that's what they were getting at. Not that Jesus is God. Okay, I am the idea that Jesus refers to, and I'm not God, I'm God's son. Okay, so we look at Jesus as the Christos, the Christ, the Christos, right? The before he was born in the world, he already was, right? Before Abraham, I am, right? He was there since the creation of the world, which means it's a spirit, it's a soul and a spirit, okay? This gets complicated because I often find myself trying to reconcile the Bible's explanation with my explanation. My explanation is I don't know when my soul was created, okay? And I know that there's a spirit from God that comes into me, historically, and they're trying to confuse this with various things, but it's like trying to confuse the fact that the sun is hot. Okay, on a hot day, you think the government could effectively confuse you consistently that the day was hot with all the points of references you have. People sweating, people complaining, what have you. So there's so many points of references that spirit exists that I know it's there. And I've studied mental illness and stuff like this for quite some time. My father's a brain surgeon, my mom's a general surgeon. We don't agree on everything, but I know for sure that I'm not mentally ill. And to make matters even worse, they haven't effectively defined mental illness. They don't really understand it, okay? But I know for sure that I'm not mentally ill. I don't have bipolar disorder, schizophrenic, whatever. So now let's get to the meat of this video. This is the first draft of the video. This topic is important to go over again and again. You see that is my style. My videos I go over again and again. I said, where's your viable counter-argument? I would like to form a committee of people to analyze these ideas so we can more effectively get to the bottom of it. People who are mentally ill simply with delusions of grandeur simply do not do that. It's partially defined by ignoring the evidence and then thinking something that isn't true. Here I am going way out of my way to gather evidence. No one has a viable counter-argument, so obviously I'm not mentally ill. It's that simple. All right. The socially normative conception of the order of intelligence, aka who is smarter than who. So I'm going to go through the order I have here. I'm going to add the wisest of the smartest of the military later, but they're not top three, and the smartest of gangsters and stuff like this later to add more to the list. But these are solid points of references to help you understand why it is not only logical, but is also, ironically and strangely enough, socially normative to understand that I am the wisest of people. And even if you're not a Christian, bear with me. So number one, me, the sabotaged African top martial artist ever, the true master of life, the top martial artist ever. Okay, Martin Luther King Jr. Point of reference, right? The Lion King point of reference, right? African Lion King, right? The lion in the African jungle. Okay, so human traits and where they seem to overlap with animal traits, natural traits, if you will, right? If you're strong, whether you're a human or an ape, right? If you're fast, whether you're human or a cheetah. So it is with the lion. And of course, the leopard is a form of a lion that is much wiser and smarter and more of a proficient hunter, right? He runs across tree branches like it's nothing. He jumps. He carries his prey up his tree. He does a lot of stuff the lion can't do. And he is a more effective martial art and life animal. Okay. And ironically, animus means spirit or soul, where we get the word animal and animation. So what is the animating force, the driving force, the spiritual force, what have you? Obviously, the lion isn't my spirit, but it's a point of reference, okay? I am the Lion of Judah in a sense, okay, because it's the idea superimposed on me. Well, we'll get to that in another video, okay? Also, the Black Panther example. What is the Black Panther? In the cartoons and the comics, in the movie, it's kind of corny. I didn't see the whole movie. I've seen little bits of it. It's kind of corny, kind of cheesy, kind of, propaganda, Hollywoodish, right? But it's superimposed on the idea of a martial artist who's more profound and deep than all the other martial artists you've ever heard of, okay? And of course, the falcon, faster and master, okay? Its vision, its speed, it flies closest to the sun, as the Egyptians would say. That is the conception of it, okay? And that's why it was used as a point of reference. Okay, so the Royal African Falcon, not panther, right? Top martial arts order, but there's something to be said about the leopard, and the panther is a word for a leopard, and so on and so forth. All right. So we see in the book Fighting for Honor, what we, these guys were people who came to the conclusion of what people commonly perceive, that the top martial artist, the chief of chiefs, was the deepest, okay, the wisest, the most considerate and bold, right? Brave, right? Moral bravery. Okay. And of course, martial arts are about character. So the wisest person, we'll get to that, is the martial arts. So now think Mr. Miyagi, think Yoda, right? Who in Star Wars is seen as the wisest person, right? It was Yoda, right? Why? Because he was a martial artist of sorts, right? Jedi was superimposed a martial artist, and the samurai helmet, where they get the Vader's helmet, and there's a lot of stuff like that they superimposed on it. Okay, so in popular culture, it's acknowledged that the smartest, the wisest, the deepest, okay, is me, right? The idea of me, the sabotaged African top martial artist ever. It's part of why it's so stupid to pretend I'm mentally ill, right? So look at number 2, right? When we think of martial artists, we think of white man and cultural appropriation. So socially normative conception of what comes next is some kind of black or Asian martial artist that would obey God through me, right? That would obey me as the King of Kings, okay? And that doesn't exist at this time, but the idea of it, and it's supposed to exist, right? The idea of it doesn't exist, and it will never exist again because there's no valid successor after I die. So number 3, the peak of academia, right? The academics who are smarter than the other academics, okay? They're more insightful, not just book smart, but insightful. Okay, and the smartest of minority doctors, right, are seen as the next smartest. Why? Because they overcame adversity. They didn't leverage privilege. We see white people as kind of shallow, so on and so forth. Me personally, I'm part white, okay? I'm just telling how it is, okay? So number 4 is the smartest of the white and Jewish doctors, okay? So you see it's number 4. It's not that, if I was racist, I'd say, oh, I'm just telling you this is what people perceive, right? This is what they perceive in reality. They're going to pretend that's not the case because they don't want certain people, groups of people to crack down on them, okay? I'm trying to help everyone here before it's too late, okay? Even if everyone saw my videos, it's not going to change the way people respond to the social orders. Okay, a small group of people might obey God through me. That's it. So keep that in mind. Please keep that in mind. And try to keep an open mind and understand what's going on here. All right, number 5. The most believable expert guest on the news program, for example, right, is common, right? The Age of Enlightenment kind of set the stage for people to take experts in science and academics more seriously than religious leaders. Okay, number 6, the accepted religious leader. Number 7, the most educated intelligence agency agents. Number 8, the common white martial art teachers and token minority ones, business leaders, tricks of the trade example. You see how there's a significant gap between the true masters who we perceive to be not white and as number 2, put number 2, number 8 is the common, so the white guys, Chuck Norris and stuff. We don't think of them as that wise, right? And common American martial art teachers, Jewish, Israeli martial art. We think of them as just tricks of the trade, skilled labor, what have you. Okay, number 9, secretary and cop spectrum, right? So some secretaries have harder jobs than others. They work their job is more demanding and it requires more education. And some cops are, master detectives or whatever. They're smarter than others. So we put it number 9. Number 10, a common dumb female who is a social norm fanatic when social norms say they are dumb. Okay, their own social norms say they're dumb, but they're like, oh, who does that? And so on and so forth. Number 11, the dumbest of the drug addicts, right? Some drug addicts are smart and they build empires and so on and so forth. So the dumbest of the drug addicts kind of and mentally retarded people. So this is just a kind of rough draft to help you understand how stupid it is to say, hey, he's crazy. You see what I'm saying?